Good afternoon. I'm Christopher Mulligan, the Clinical Director and Founder of Group Works West. This is our fourth video in a series on limit setting. Today we're going to talk about surviving and minimizing tantrums and dealing with more severe behaviors such as destruction of property or physical aggression in the home. Surviving and minimizing tantrums. Technique number one, try whenever possible to empathize with your child's position in the tantrum, what triggered them, what their complaints are. Try to reflect back compassion, and sometimes if we join the child and we exhibit empathy and compassion, we can decrease the tantrum, sometimes cut it altogether. When that doesn't work, the child escalates. Second thing we need to do is stay in control, particularly work on our own frustration and anger when we've tried to be compassionate and containing and it has failed. Now, most parents have been told from the very beginning of a consultation, maybe with a pediatrician, when their child was tantruming, that they should ignore the tantrum. When I meet with parents, their position is, we tried it, it didn't work, in fact, it made things worse. And what I suspect usually has happened is that the parents did try, but they tried 3, 4, 6 times, 7 tops. And they didn't see any results. In fact, the child did escalate when they attempted to ignore it. And so they concluded that it wasn't going to be an effective strategy. For the child to really believe that the parent is going to ignore their behavior, you need to get up 10, 12, 14 times. You have to really sell that you're not going to engage, that you're not going to be engaged in the power struggle around the tantrum itself. And that just takes time, but it really works. It is nearly foolproof, 100% effective if you can tolerate the learning trials 6 times, 8, 10, 12, and then you will sell it and you will see results. One of the other things that you can do is to demonstrate to your child that you're not going to be thrown off by the tantrum. You can say, let me know when you're feeling better. In other words, don't attempt to control it, just reflect on what's going on. You're poised, you still have your composure, and you say, well, I guess this is what needs to happen. There's a term called paradox, which a family therapist named Jay Haley coined, and what that means is, rather than resist the tantrum, rather than lay down rules and prohibitions, Jay Haley said, what you should do is prescribe the symptoms. Say, well, it looks to me like you should tantrum, like you need to tantrum. I'll come back in 10 or 15 minutes and see how you're doing. This is very effective at changing the power dynamics of a tantrum. Rather than the child having the upper hand, being tyrannical and out of control, the parent says, well, that's what you need to do, that's what you need to do, and then the parent walks away. This can be an incredibly powerful and effective strategy that can be used over and over in various ways when you have power struggles going on. Finally, the tried and true iPod therapy. Nothing you're doing is working. It's loud, you're losing your bearings. Go into a room if you can, turn on the music, take a deep breath, and see if you can work on it after you've had some time to get your equilibrium. Dealing with more severe behaviors, specifically the destruction of property, kids who are throwing things, breaking things on purpose, maybe taking an object of value to the parent or a sibling. And the other is physical aggression. Now, if for behaviors where something has been broken, it's best to get payment for the repairs if the child has an allowance, and you can subtract money from that. Actually engaging in repairing the object itself, which is a logical consequence for breaking something. The other is providing labor, maybe working for money that would then be used to repair or replace the object. Loss of privileges can be very effective in aggressive and impulsive behavior, provided that the loss of the privilege is really important to the child. A lot of parents have tried this at various points in time, and have not had good results, and the reason is that they haven't gone after the right privileges, or they have not targeted the right privileges long enough. So if you're going to revoke a privilege, you don't revoke it for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, but you really take it away and set a limit and see if you create some inhibition from the loss of the privilege. Now, written apologies or apologies can be useful, especially in the event of physical aggression. They have sometimes benefit in terms of deterring behavior in the future, but primarily they're important in terms of closure of an aggressive episode to require either a written or a verbal apology. But if that turns into a power struggle and the child begins to tantrum about the apology, then it's important to let that go. If you have worked on empathizing and ignoring and paradox, and you have tried consequences, loss of privileges, and you're not getting anywhere and the tantrums are growing worse, it's important to get a consultation with a psychiatrist or a behavior expert that can guide you. And there may be a biomedical intervention through medication that could be helpful, and it's important to seek out a good psychiatrist who's familiar with autistic spectrum issues or a developmental pediatrician.